Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the aligning combo I had with Zoeller in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to the interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. If you don't know about somatic coaching, you should listen to the interview.
Yeah, if you don't know the definition of somatic, she explained it.
Yeah.
Lauren, because it was actually great. It was your very first question. Hey, cool, I'm all about life coaching. What's the somatic part mean? Can you explain that? And they dug in pretty deep. So yeah, that's good.
I know. Well, it's because I have a somatic therapist and I didn't really understand what that title was. And she would do her therapy and it had somatic stuff, but I just was like, oh, we're in the woo-woo world. We're just doing this. But it's actually not. It's not woo-woo at all. It's like totally legit science. You should so go listen to it. But I love Lauren and,
she's powerful.
She's powerful. She's super cool. And at the time that we're recording this, I'm on the eve of hanging out with her for the weekend here in Vegas.
Yeah.
So talk about, do you want to just say, I just want to say this because it's nothing to do with anything, but if you're trying to make friends, do the things. Suggest that people share an experience together. She is coming here with a couple other women because I was like, we should all hang out. I live in Las Vegas. It's a great place to come visit.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's what I said.
They came because you just invited them to come.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I know. I said we should. I won't give all the credit. They know a mutual friend. They know Tori Gordon, who's a coach, and she was on our podcast earlier. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh yeah, Tori was talking about how we should all come to Vegas." I said, "Well, now you have two reasons to come because Tori and I live in the same neighborhood.
Great,
and you should come." And boom, set some dates, and now they're coming.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's fun.
Action. Anyways, I'm so excited. By the time you've heard this, I've already hung out. We've already had our women's weekend, and it's going to be amazing. I'll be telling about it on another episode. Anyways, we are also 1 month away from the time that you're listening to this from the PP retreat, the Profitable Pilates Business Retreat here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So if you are wanting to hang out in a very intimate, not in a sexual way, but just small, that's what I mean it by, a small group, private event.
I don't think anybody took it as sexual, but that's fair to clarify. It's an intimate setting. That's a fair way to describe it. It's actually a lot of fun and very transformative when it comes to digging into the customer journey that you may or may not be presenting to your customers. If you run a fitness business or any kind of service-based business, really, the principles do apply, and that we'll be covering that weekend. And our first one that we ran earlier this year was amazing. It was so amazing. So we're really excited to be hosting a second one this year.
It'll be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
I'm just going to put amazing in there one more time.
Also, amazingly, I'm not sure that we haven't set a date yet for next year. So it's not 100% that we're going to do it for next year. So if you're thinking, I'll just do the next one, just talk to us now because it may not actually be when we want, we've got a lot going on next year, a lot.
A lot. And also, I just want to say, putting off the growth of your business for next time. Can we just talk about
why wait 9 more months to get started?
The people who were at our first retreat, several of them made their retreat investment back within a couple of months of just using our project management training, of using our launch training, of all this stuff.
Yeah. They
are now working on things right now as second rounds of things that will have even better outcomes. If they had not come, if they waited till next time, they would literally be where they were way before March making what they made before March in a time when you make more money. So I'm just saying, don't wait till next time. And Brad is right. We have not set dates, and it's pretty unclear whether or not we will have another one in the 2023 dates. We
look, we're hoping that we can do it, but
we love it.
But actually, I also love going to Cambodia. So
we love going to Cambodia. We also love vacation.
Yeah, there's that. I would like to take some time off.
So anyways,
an idea.
That's 1 month away. So
that's happening. Yeah, in a month. And then, but what's happening before then?
Oh, Agency Mini.
Yeah.
So it's like about 2-ish weeks away. It starts on the 18th, and
How is it different than the retreat?
Okay, so Agency Mini, first of all, well, it's very different. The retreat is at our house in person, curated, very small group.
Yeah.
Agency Mini is not to say that it's a big group, but it is a bigger group, and
it's a couple hundred people.
It's also online. We do one workshop and we do one Q&A session, and then we answer your questions throughout the week. Whereas at the retreat, when you're at our house, we have several workshops, several times where you guys are in coaching settings. It's a very curated experience around what you're going to be learning. Whereas inside of Agency Mini, we have a very curated webinar and homework for you. But then the rest of the week, you can really ask us anything, and we'll be really honest with you.
But bigger picture though, the retreat, we're going to dig into, like I said, your customer's journey and what you're putting in front of them, when to graduate them from your first product to your second product, your third product, whether that's digitally on your website, or whether that is, in your brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
Where Agency Mini is it's a 7-day taster of our ongoing coaching services, where you can, we are going to dig into, we're going to help you clarify, exactly what it is that you offer your clients, how to connect with those clients, who those clients actually are, right? And then we're going to open it up for questions about anything throughout the week. That's going to be virtual.
Yeah. So profitablepilates.com/retreat is a retreat, and profitablepilates.com/mini is for Agency Mini. And so you should sign up for that.
Yeah.
Because there's also, by the way, if you join Agency from Mini, you get lots of goodies. So just saying, if you've been thinking, I want to coach with them, I need to sign up for that, this is the time. So anyways, I'm so excited. September and October are going to be so off the chart. They are going to
be so fun.
We're going to be in several states, countries.
Whirlwind.
It's a whirlwind.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy.
Got to get my sleep on. Anyways, we have an audience question.
We do. You've answered this before, but it's been a long time. I just inserted that. What are some books that you recommend? Do you have any new ones?
Yeah, so I don't recall which recap we answered this question in, but I would say it's probably 100 episodes ago.
I was going to say, I think it's been a long time.
Yeah, so of course I have been reading a lot, and by reading I mean listening. But I actually am reading a couple books, physical books, currently as we are doing this. So here's my new top books that I've been talking about a lot. And I've read they're not inclusive of all the books that I've read, but what I think listeners of this show would really love. We Should All Be Millionaires, Rachel Rogers. Rachel Rogers, if you're listening to this episode, hi! Big fan over here. Want to be on the show? If you know Rachel, please do the intro. I'm just putting it out there. I'm asking for what I want. I want Rachel Rogers on the show. That book is amazing. It's so good. I have Brad reading it.
I'm I don't know, third of the way through it right now. Halfway, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's so good. Chatter, I believe it is by Ethan Kross. I think that's who it's by. Yes. And I have DM'd him. He has not responded to me, so I am not rejected.
Ethan Kross.
I'm not rejected yet. And I will not take no for an answer from that man, because he is amazing. That book is it's so awesome at identifying why you're talking to yourself and the thoughts you say, and then also how to snap yourself out of it, which I just freaking love. You know how I love action. So action steps. So that's a great book. And then Rejection Proof. Oh my gosh. He did reject me for right now, not permanently. He said to come back to him later. He's just not doing podcasts right now. That's okay. Gia, Jang, I got you. My peeps are going to find you. We're going to get you on the show. Anyways, rejection proof is so good if you're afraid of being rejected. Brad has a course about being rejected on our Profitable Potties website.
Yeah, we'll put the link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
It's called How to Be Rejected to Success with 200 No's.
Yeah. So, and then this book was just like, so good. I'm really into it. And then I've talked about it before. I actually talked about it with Coach Lee a couple weeks ago on that episode, but I started doing E Squared again.
Right.
And it's Pam Grout. Hi, Pam. Hi, hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
I tagged you on a post or 3. Not a stalker, but just saying.
Big fan
over here. Anyways, I read Pam Grout's book 7 years ago, and I actually did one of the experiments. I put Brad's name down, and then he called me.
I did.
And then the other woman's name down. I just put the 2 together. She's the woman from the other company that's been hitting us up.
Oh, that's crazy.
How crazy is that? But she did also call me while we ran into each other. Anyways, you'll hear that on Coach Lee's episode. But the point is, I've been doing all the experiments, and I did experiment 1. I started it on a specific date at 11 a.m. And then I decided to meditate on receiving abundance. And at 11:03, during the middle of my meditation, the experiment came true. Oh, so you all have to do E Squared. Okay, those are the books. Do you have anything to add to that?
Those are great. I've been reading political books and also some novels. So yeah, less if you are looking to find a new world to experience that has nothing to do with reality. There's a lovely, incredible 20-something book series.
Oh, are you doing YA?
No, it's...
No, young adult. You're listening to a young adult?
I don't know what that is.
Oh.
So, no. It's... his name is Michael J. Sullivan, and he created his own fantasy world where he's got different times of the timeline. So like, he started off with a thief and a soldier, and the two of them get paired together, and they have to go and he wrote 12 books around this duo.
So not necessarily like a book for 20-somethings. It's just a 20-year
No.
long.
It's written 20 novels.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Sorry.
20 books.
20 books. So not YA at all.
I don't know what YA is, so no.
YA is like a section of books. It's called young adult. It's like your Twilight.
Oh yeah. I never got out of that. Yeah. No,
yeah,
it's
like not Goosebumps, but something like that. Like young
sure,
adult.
these are applicable for all ages actually. Then in that timeline, he was referencing the history 3,000 years ago, and then the next set of 6 books he wrote was from 3,000 years ago.
Oh my!
And then now the new books he's writing are in the middle between these two timelines. I
can't handle it.
It's amazing actually, and you fall in love with the characters, and he is. He's mind-blowingly good at what he does. It is incredible. The books are just fantastic. So
okay,
yeah.
Let's talk about Lauren.
We don't go to the same movies, y'all. Just saying.
We don't. We also don't go to bed at the same time or wake up at the same time. We are an anomaly. If you are like, I want to be married like Brad and Lesley, I'm just going to point out right now, you have to be very secure.
We have so much in common when it comes to being entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and we have like the things that we love to do for fun are so opposite. Yeah. We just do them on our own.
Yeah. But Lesley's got a green thumb. No, she doesn't.
No, she does not.
I'm teasing.
But my mammillaria, by not touching it whatsoever, is doing great.
Yeah.
My plant in the window is not doing so good. I don't know what to do about it. Anyways, let's talk about Lauren.
Let's talk about Lauren Zoeller.
As like our guests listening to these recaps.
I know, they're probably, what the hell?
When did they talk about me, though?
Okay, cool. So, Lauren, helping women and men find conscious partnerships. Lauren Zoeller is a somatic relationship expert, aka dating coach, who overcame her own patterns of shame to now lead women into aligned lives. Lauren is more than a matchmaker. She's here to guide individuals to keep the relationships they find and in the process discover a deeper love for themselves.
So AKA better than a dating coach.
Yeah, better than a dating coach.
Just to like help my new friend out. She's more than a dating coach.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I think that again, if you go back and listen to her definition of somatic, it will help you understand how different she is from, she's not Hitch, I think you probably had the best example. I'm just going to pull it back up. You said people who date the quote unquote same person over and over and over again until they learn their lesson, right? She helps you like understand why you might be repeating things, but just in a different time and with different people, but she's still repeating the same thing.
If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, you got the air quotes. If you didn't, Brad, his inflection should have hopefully helped you understand the air quotes that were in there.
Yeah. Brad is very good at...
He's better than Joey from Friends at air quotes. I'm sorry.
Well, what was one thing that you loved that Lauren said?
Thank you for asking. One thing I love that she said was how you received love as a child shapes how you expect to be loved today. Often those who had a frenetic childhood are chasing the high of chaos. And she went on a little bit like, how do you give and receive love? And is it keeping you in unhealthy patterns? It's a question she's having you ask herself. So take a moment. How do you give and receive love? And is it keeping you in unhealthy patterns? So, we all know the 5 love languages and things like that, but like actually think about it. Like the way you're giving and receiving love, is it actually helping you have loving relationships, or is it in this chaotic, unhealthy pattern? Like these are important things. And then she also had some other examples like boredom is a driving factor and running from relationship to chase the high.
Well, that's so what she was talking about, which I thought was really amazing. Cause I don't know. I never thought this way, but she said, if you had chaos in your childhood, and actually she specifically was talking about helicopter parents. Mm-hmm. And she said, if your, parents were in and then out and then in and then out, and there was this chaos happening, you often expect that later on in life. So if you end up in a stable, relationship, it doesn't mean stable is good or bad. It just means it's the opposite of what you expected. So more often than not, you're inclined to feel like this is boring, or this is safe, or this is kind of meh, and
it's like when Carrie broke up with Aiden, everyone. She broke up with Aiden because they didn't fight. And
I don't actually know any idea who
Sex
these
in the
people
City.
are.
Everyone who's listening is nodding their head. They all know because that was a big deal. That was a whole thing.
So glad I was there for that one. Okay. Yeah, it's like, guys, it's like, oh my God. It's like when Carrie broke up with Aiden.
Okay.
Because they didn't fight all the time.
Well, but it's I think people need examples sometimes of
I think it's a perfect example. I just was not there with you on that one.
It's fine. Everyone who's listening is with me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're all with me.
No, but it's a perfect example because and then conversely, if you had a relatively stable, or quote unquote boring, like childhood love from your parents, and you find yourself in a chaotic relationship, you may be like, I can't do this, and anyway, I thought that was really interesting. I never thought about that before.
Yeah. And also, so first of all, Lauren has an incredible course and she has a bunch of services. There's also the book, Getting the Love You Want, which is a very interesting book about explaining the old brain, the new brain, and like how when you first get a relationship, you fill all of your own holes. So
Harville Hendricks.
Yeah. So you fill all your own holes to show people that, look, I'm this like perfect, amazing being and there's nothing crazy wrong with me here. I'm so good. And your partner, by the way, is doing the exact same thing. And then after a few months, it's so exhausting trying to fill those holes. But you don't even realize that you're doing it on a subconscious level. So you think that the person you're with is filled the holes. Like they've solved the problem. So then when both of you stop filling your own holes, you're like, you changed. They changed. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, no, you both just started to be your fucking selves.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so a lot
Lauren talked about that at the very beginning. She talked about like, being lonely and filling that loneliness with someone who you shouldn't be with.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Who hasn't done that 17 times? Not personal. I just know from a still I'm watched. But I think it's
calling on behalf of a friend.
Yeah, I'm just calling for a friend, actually. Anyways, it's a great book. If you're like, I don't know if I want to read that book. He was on Oprah, and you can get the Cliff Notes version, or you can just work with Lauren. But the reality is we have to stop pretending that how we were raised is not affecting the lives and the choices we have now. And then also we have to understand that we are making choices. You may think things are happening to you and this is just the people that are around you and these are the only options, but we all actually have choices. And when you start to recognize that how you are choosing to give and receive love is a choice.
Sure.
Even if you feel it's subconscious, it can actually be a conscious decision. When you make those changes, you can actually start to change the patterns of the day you have and find the person you want to have. And look at Lauren. Look where she's at right now.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. And what she's referencing is having moved through a very tumultuous time in her life to finding a place where she can be herself.
Yeah.
With someone that she loves in a business that's functioning and all good things. So, again, worth listening to it. One thing I loved that she said was she helped define the difference between a therapist and a life coach.
Which I knew you would love.
Yeah, well, she is a life coach. A therapist, generally speaking, has degrees in therapy, and they, help you dig into the past. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you're really breaking things down and trying to uncover, where you came from. Whereas a life coach is helping you plan and look at your future. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was such a clear distinction, such an easy way to understand the difference between the two.
I knew you'd love it. I was like, oh my gosh, Brad's going to fucking love this definition. Yeah. And also, by the way, you can have a somatic therapist and a somatic life coach. Yeah. And so somatics is really amazing. Again, if you're like, what's somatics? Listen to the other episode. Just going to make you do it. But you can have both. And you can also have a therapist and a life coach because one could be dealing with one thing and one you could be doing 100%. The therapy. So, just that they're different things. But I loved how she explained it. I agree with you on that, love.
Yeah. All right. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your conversation with Lauren Zoeller? She summed it all up with one solid action, beit action item. She said, look at the patterns that have shown up in your relationships and write them down. Why has every relationship ended? And is there a common thread?
Yeah, and I think you can look at friendships as well as, and family relationships as well as love relationships. I think we are different with different people-ish, but we're all the same. So if you look at how maybe a family member and you had a falling out or a friend you had falling out, I bet you there's some common threads. And I think that could be worth journaling about. I'm not saying shame and judge all yourself. Please, that's not what I'm saying. But just
it's still a hard thing to dig into and look and review. And, I think that it's easy to avoid. Let's just say it can be easy to avoid thinking about this stuff. So when you start to uncover it, it may be a little bit uncomfortable, because if you're honest with yourself, how much a part of the ending of those relationships were you? Obviously, it takes two people to be in a relationship. So you were clearly a part of it. How?
Yeah. And I think it's not like we're saying you should take all the blame because that's not it at all. But you should just actually look at what was your role in it. And if you're well, Lesley and Brad, my person, cheated on me. Okay, that's fine. I do not blame anybody who is cheated on, as the reason for that, because that's a whole other ball of wax. But you can look at the red flags that you ignored at the beginning of the relationship that got you into a relationship with someone who cheated on you.
Sure.
And so you looking at those red flags that you ignored, those are choices. And you made those for specific reasons. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the choice you made. But then you can actually have this red flag marker. So when you're on a date and you see that red flag and you go, oh, here I am with the same pattern of dating this person.
Exactly.
Who's doing this red flag. And I'm not saying put a stop sign up, but you could just say, hey, you said something. And I just would like to go back to that and just kind of explore that a little bit.
Yeah.
Could you mind like just giving me a little bit more from that. And if they like dig a hole that's just like, wow, this red flag just became a freaking fire, run.
Yeah.
Run away.
I mean, and it may be, I mean, there's, you know, in the last episode we were talking about, or sorry, last recap we were talking about clients and firing a client. Same thing. I mean, we're not necessarily talking about love relationships here. We're talking about relationships, right? So it could be you keep taking on clients that you know, I don't know, maybe, you know, we teachers, as a teacher, we all feel like we can help someone, but maybe we think we can help them emotionally in addition to physically. And maybe that is like a consistent issue, because after a while you're fried, you're ready to move on to the next person. But now they're your client, you know, and it's possible that you've been doing this over and over again. You know, who knows? There's just it's interesting to go back and take a look and like what Lauren said, look at the patterns that have shown up in your relationships and write them down. Why has every relationship ended, and what is that common thread?
Well, I'll be really honest. Like, we would not have dated had I not like looked at the red flags and like been playing that game and like looking at how all of the people I dated before you ended. I was like, oh wow, there is a common interesting theme. And so when you came on, like I challenged you a couple of times. So you were late to something, and I said I don't like that. That doesn't work for me. You know, and like we had to talk about it. So like, it's not like if you see it, you're like, I have to run away right now. No, you can actually have a conversation around it. Sure. And then like say things, and it really does allow you to have an adult relationship where yes, there's vulnerability, but whether
I don't
it's
even
love
think I asked you like things, you know, in that sense. I didn't have a plan when I was going through my divorce, but I did write things down because I couldn't keep it in my head anymore. I just couldn't juggle it all because it's so much I was thinking about. You know, I was like replaying every conversation I ever had, ever. And you know how it is, right? But what it allowed me to clarify were the things that were important to me. And so when we began to date, I literally had a list. I had a list.
I had a list. I deleted my list after you dumped me because I was so mad at you. Because, okay, so he came over with beer, and I'm fucking gluten-free. Okay?
Oh, I did that.
And he came over with beer. This is not the first time I told him I was gluten-free. This is the third time I had to tell him I was gluten-free. And he brings this beer. I was like, hey, I brought this beer over. I'm like, I'm gluten-free. I can't drink it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then he proceeded to take 2 hours to tell me everything he liked about me and then why we couldn't go on a date. And I had this list, and you checked off everything on the list, but I literally had written down, remembers I'm gluten and dairy free. And I was like, fuck this list. It's not fucking working. He meant everything, and he fucked this up and he fucked that up, and I deleted the list. And then 10 days later, you're like, hey, I'm at Trader Joe's. I know you're gluten and dairy free, so I got you some veggies and hummus. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
You know what I did? I actually went home and I looked up what is gluten free because I didn't know. You were like, yeah, I can't eat bread. I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess she can't eat bread. I was like, so I didn't bring bread, but I actually looked it up. I was like, dairy was pretty straightforward. But gluten, I didn't know.
Yeah, but that's the fun. I didn't know you had a list. I had a list. Anyways, obviously it worked out for us, but it's because both of us reflected on past relationships and how they ended.
That's pretty funny.
And hey, I'm so happy we're together.
Me too.
We're celebrating 7 years this fall.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways. I'm Lesley Logan.
I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so grateful you're here. I hope you enjoy these. You can always give us feedback on our podcast at beitpod.com/tellme. And we want to know how you're going to use these tips in your life. Give us a tag Lauren Zoeller. Let us know. And please share this with a friend who is having needs in their relationships that need to be met. So we can help them out with Lauren's amazing tips. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Fraterelli.
Kevin Perez at Disenyo handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jairo Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.